Okay, every business, and I mean every business, has to deal with these huge multi-million dollar questions, right? Like, do we launch this new product? Do we sink a ton of cash into that new tech? I mean, these are the kinds of choices that can literally make or break a company. So how do the pros get it right? Well, they don't just guess. They have a specific tool, one designed to cut right through all that complexity. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
So let's put you in the driver's seat. Imagine you're the manager. You've got two options on your desk. Project A, it's the safe bet. Pretty much guaranteed steady returns. Then there's Project B. That's the moonshot. A potential game changer, but also a bigger risk. And here's the kicker. You only have the budget for one. So what do? Go with your gut? Or is there a smarter, more rational, data-driven way to make that call? Well, that exact problem is why cost-benefit analysis was created.
All right, so let's get into what this thing actually is. At its core, cost-benefit analysis, or CBA for short, is a surprisingly simple idea. You just systematically add up all the potential good stuff, the benefits, and then you subtract all the potential bad stuff, the costs. If that pile of benefits is bigger than the pile of costs, you've probably got a winning project on your hands. It's really all about bringing some cold, hard numbers to what can feel like a really tough, emotional decision. But, and this is a big but, a real cost-benefit analysis isn't just some quick pro-con list you scribble on a napkin. No way. It's a really rigorous, structured process. To make sure you leave no stone unturned, to consider every single angle, analysts follow a very clear 5-step framework. So let's walk through what that looks like. Okay, so it all starts with step 1. You've got to establish the project's scope. What are the exact boundaries of the decision we're making here? Then step 2 is all about analyzing the costs, and trust me, this goes way deeper than you might think. Step 3 is the flip side, evaluating all the benefits, both the obvious ones and the not-so-obvious ones. Step 4 is where you finally do the math, comparing the total value of the benefits to the total costs. And last but not least, step 5 is where you develop a recommendation based on everything you've found. Is it a clear go, a definite no-go, or do we need to head back to the drawing board? Now, the real power of a CBA, it comes from how deep it goes on the cost side of things. Of course, you have your direct costs, right? Things like labor and materials. Easy enough. Then you've got indirect costs like rent and utilities. But a really good analysis goes even deeper. It forces you to try and put a number on intangible costs, like a potential dip in employee morale. And it makes you account for opportunity costs. What benefits are you giving up by not choosing the next best thing? It even tries to price out potential risks, like what if new regulations come into play? This kind of 360-degree view is what really gives the analysis its teeth. Now, as powerful as this framework is, it is definitely not a magic bullet. Like any tool, it has some serious strengths for sure, but it also has some very real-world limitations. So let's get a balanced view of the pros and the cons here. So on the pro side, the biggest advantage is that it's data-driven. It helps take gut feelings out of the equation. It simplifies really complex choices and forces you to do your homework. But on the con side, that same deep dive means it can be incredibly time-consuming and expensive, total overkill for smaller decisions. And here's the critical weakness. You can see it in those last 2 points. The entire analysis is built on forecasts and estimates. So if your assumptions are off, your data-driven answer will be just plain wrong. And this quote right here, it gets right to the heart of the matter. A CBA is basically you telling a story about the future, and that story is built completely on assumptions. I mean, how can you precisely predict sales growth or inflation 5 years from now? How do you put a concrete dollar value on something as fuzzy as improved customer satisfaction? The reality is that final number you get is only as reliable as the estimates you feed into it. A biased or maybe an overly optimistic forecast can send you down a very, very expensive wrong path. So if the tool has these kinds of limitations, what's the takeaway? Is it even useful? Well, the answer is a big yes, but only if you use it wisely. Here's the key thing to remember. Think of CBA as a compass, not a calculator. It's an incredible tool for structuring your thoughts and pointing you in the right general direction. It's a framework to support a manager's judgment, not to replace it. Honestly, a lot of the time, the real value isn't even the final number itself, but the whole process of asking all those tough questions about costs and benefits, both the ones you can see and the ones you can't. And that really leaves us with a final thought for you. The next time you're facing a major choice, whether it's at work or even in your own life, try thinking through this kind of framework. What are the hidden costs you might not be seeing? What are the intangible benefits you haven't really considered? Just applying that critical mindset, well, that's the first step toward making a much smarter, more informed decision.